Tube. All right. Yeah, no, obviously it was nice moves to win the last two games and finish in the money. But but honestly, I'm most happy about winning some rating. If I'm being honest. Because I'm still below 2600. So it's nice to gain a few points and get closer again. All right, anyway, we're live on YouTube as well, and on Kick and on Twitch. So feel free to say hi on your favorite platform. And while we're at it, let's continue the speedrun. We left off at 1550, but as we go, feel free to, you know, ask any questions about the US Masters, all of that. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I saw something moves that she scored a WGM norm. Is that correct? That's thank you, Great Thorn Toad. Appreciate that. Okay. Oh, nice. Gained 50 points. Nice. Very nice for Anamaya. Congratulations. Gefeliciteerd, Anamaya. Okay, so let's pick up where we left off. Okay, effect. Okay. Right. Yeah, I figured. Otherwise, that'd be insane. Yeah. But still, that's fantastic. That means she's overperforming by 2.5 points. All right. Anyway, so let's push the rating up to 1600. If anyone has any questions, you know, about the US Masters or any comments, again, put those in the chat, and I'll be more than happy to answer those. But let's get started. We'll push the rating up to 1600. Okay, and we're playing with black. Okay, let's see what he's gonna do. Okay, e4. Okay, we know what to do. We meet e4 with c5, the Sicilian. The reason why I like Sicilian is that we control the d4 square as well, but we avoid the symmetry. Exactly. Knight of 3. And by the way, I encourage everyone to participate in the chat. After knight of 3, now we go knight to c6. We develop the knight. And he goes d4. Now, I think the higher we climb up the rating ladder, we're going to see the open Sicilian more and more. And the whole point of the move c5 is that whenever you see the move d4 is to take that pawn. You don't want to allow white to build a big center, so we simply take. White recaptures. And now it's time to bring the dragon bishop to life with the move g6. We're going to go bishop g7 next. And this is really the start of the Accelerated Dragon. The reason why it's called the Accelerated Dragon is that we play g6 on move 4. And in the normal dragon, you'd play g6 on move number 5. Now, obviously, the follow-up here is the move bishop g7. And not only do we develop the bishop, we also attack the knight. And they go bishop e3. Now, this is covered in chapter 1 of my course. And I think, like I said, the more we climb up the rating ladder, we're going to see this more and more. Now, what you do after bishop g7 is your next move is almost always going to be knight f6. So that should really come as an automatic. Not much to think about. So let's go ahead and do that here. And let's see if he's going to try to go for the Yugoslav attack. Then we have some nice tricks up our sleeve. Hello, Tadeus. Good to see you. Oh, nice. He goes bishop e2. All right. Okay, let's just castle. That's almost always going to be our next move. Again, not much to think about. And he castles as well. Now, here we have some options. Given the fact that we have not played d6 yet, we can play d6 here. We can also play d7, d5, which is also an interesting option. And let me actually go ahead and do that here. That is one of the key ideas of the Accelerated Dragon. Like I said, we've not played d6 yet, so we can sometimes play d7, d5 in one go. All right, let's see what he's going to do. Already, we're doing pretty okay. If anything is unclear, please do not be shy to ask about it in the chat. Hello, Starting Chess. Great to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've been enjoying the course. Hello, Icy Row. Good to see you in the YouTube chat. Thank you. Okay, well, that's all right, Thaddeus. We're all here to learn. We are all here to learn. Okay, let's see what he's going to do. Okay, he takes on c6. Obviously, we're gonna recapture with the b pawn. Can you show the first moves? RQ. Did you play any Accelerated Dragon in the US Masters? No, I did not. I did not. Alright, e5. Attacking my knight. Okay, I have to move it, of course. I guess 97 makes the most sense. Hitting it that way. 98 is a move as well, but I think I'll go knight 2. To be somewhat careful, I'm considering 97. It's going to go f4. And then I have to think. I'm considering f6, but it runs the knight takes d5. I could also go 98, because then I can go f6. And I suppose I'll just recapture with my knight. Can also take with the bishop. Let's go knight. Let's go 98, because I want to meet f4 with f6, and I don't want to allow this move tactic, knight takes d5. Okay, f4 played. Let's go f6, because my bishop is currently blocked out, but now I want to bring it back to life. If he takes, can take with the knight, can also take with the bishop. Okay, nice, nice. Bishop c5, okay. But what do I always tell you guys? If there's something you can take, and you don't see why not, you should take. And we have such a situation here. We can simply take this pawn. I don't see why not, so I'm going to take. Yep, and the only way is up starting chess. We're now at 1550, and we're going to push the 1600 all the way up to 2000, 2500, all the good stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and take. I can also take here, but then you can take, forcing my king out to a slightly awkward square. So I'm going to take here. Check. Okay, let's see what he's going to do. He recaptures with the queen. Again, free pawn. If you don't see why not, just go ahead and take it. All right, well, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it, Father Marcus. Now, the question is, what Sicilian do you play, Father Marcus? Now, he goes rook to d1. Okay, I'm not too concerned about what he's doing here. This is firmly protected. Rook b8 is an option, creating some pressure here. I can also bring out the knight. Let's go ahead, or like knight out here. I will go knight f6. Just bring out the knight to an active square. I can go queen c7 as well. Hitting the pawn on h2, which is a little bit awkward to protect. Hello, Bradlove. Good to see you in the chat. e7 pawn. The thing is, you don't have to push that pawn. You don't have to push that pawn. I guess, Mbopi, you said you're an e5 player, and I totally get it. You look at the pawn and you're like, wait, when are we ever going to push that to the center? But we don't have to. Because when you push it, it could also weaken your position. So for the moment, we're going to leave it here. And I hope that makes sense. But great point in the chat. Really appreciate everyone participating, because that's going to make the speedrun only better. Yeah, okay. Hello, Simon. Why not d5? I recommend that you almost always play castles before d5. Because with d5, you open up the center. And if your king is in the middle, you're not that well prepared for the center to open. So almost always play castle before d5. Hope that makes sense. By the way, I also really appreciate the feedback I've been getting from everyone on my course. It's been great to see how well it has been received. That being said, if there's anything you think that can be improved, absolutely do not be shy to let me know. All right, so bishop f3. I can go queen c7. Queen a5 is an option as well. I'll just go queen c7, hit this pawn over here, which, like I said, is slightly awkward for him to protect. Where can we get the course? It's on Chessable and on chess.com. So it's on Chessable right here. Okay, g3 is inviting this sacrifice, but it's not working because he has queen g2. Rook b8 again, but I think knight a4. I think I'll just develop with the move bishop f5. Develop with tempo, by the way, as we also hit this pawn. Hello, Victor. Great to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right, he goes rook d2, but looks a bit awkward. Like, I think now I'm definitely going to go rook to queen a5 is an option. But I'll go rook b8. I'll hit this pawn, which, once again, is a little awkward to protect because he cannot push the pawn. And let me also, by the way, give you guys the link to my course on chess.com. Just letting everyone know, if you have chess.com Diamond, It will be, b3 is not a good move. Why is b3 not a good move? Let's see who's paying attention. Why is b3 not good? All right. I'll give you guys the link, and just letting everyone know, if you have a Chess.com Diamond membership, you can get it for 30% off. Yep, indeed, that's just a free night. So let's go ahead and take it. Again, if there's something you can take and you don't see why not, go ahead and take it. All right, so obviously the game is over. We're up a piece. And the rest should be pretty simple. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. But great to see all of you guys. All right. Here goes rook e2. Makes a lot of sense. And, yeah, he's hitting this. He could go e5 here, but also like knight e4, addressing the threat on the e7 pawn and creating a threat myself. Yep. All right, g4 hitting my bishop, but okay, he's creating some counterplay, but I think I'll just go ahead and take here. Take the bishop. Yes, he takes here, but we're on material, so traits are fine for us. Okay, can throw in this check, but I don't have to. Let's just go rook f8. Bring the rook over to the king side, because that's where a lot of action is happening. Okay, he takes. I'll just recapture. My king is still pretty safe. Rook g. Okay, queen h3. I have to be a little bit careful. This is not a move because my knight's covering that square. I'm gonna get queen f4. If he takes, I have queen g5, and that's the end of the game. So queen g5, queen f4 looks pretty good. I bring my queen over. Again, that's where all the action is happening on the board. So I want to bring my queen over as well. Yep, I told you guys, rook b8 was an awkward move for him to meet. And he crumbled under the pressure. Okay, rook takes e7. Tricky move. He's threatening checkmate on 1. So we absolutely should not take this bishop. But we planned for this because we had prepared to move queen g5 check. And we pick up the rook. And that's gonna be the end. Exactly. Yep. Indeed, that is GG. Hello, Cosmo. Good to see you. Oh, thank you, Italic. Okay, nice. But yeah, no, like I said, hope everyone's doing well. Hope you guys have been enjoying the course, the videos, all that. Okay, it was king of 1. We obviously just collect a rook. Now we're up a rook and a knight, and honestly, I would not be shocked if he resigns here. Okay, king g2. Everything is winning, but let's just throw in a check. We're now going to take his king for a hunt. He goes there. We continue the king hunt, bring in another piece with knight e4. King here, and now we just give a check and checkmate. All right, good stuff. Okay, so win another nice game and move up to 1562. Let's do a quick analysis of this game. So we, of course, go for the Sicilian. We bring out our knight. Whenever we see d4, we will take that pawn. So this move should come automatically, and then we go g6, the start of the Accelerated Dragon. And the point is to bring that bishop out to g7 on the long diagonal. All right. After you do that, your next move is almost always going to be knight f6. Not much to think about. And then after that, our next move is almost always going to be castle. Someone asked, why not d5? But with d5, you open up the center, and we're just better prepared to deal with all of that if our king is nicely tucked away. So we castle, he castles as well. Now, all of this is actually still covered in my course. Hello, Hquazi, great to see you. d6, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But d5, nice move as well. taking advantage of the fact that we've not touched the d-pawn and we can move it 2 squares. If he takes, we can take, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, I might have knight b4 in the course with the idea to take here and take with a knight. No, nobody has played the Maroxy yet, so maybe we'll see that at some point. Hello, Elliot. Great to see you. Elliot, why were you not at the US Masters? Anyway, he takes, we recapture, and e5, and this was a really interesting moment. My knight's under attack, and I was considering knight d7, hitting the pawn, f4, and f6. This is a very typical idea. If your bishop gets blocked in with e5 and f4, you often want to open it up again with the move f6, but here white has a tactic. White has the move knight takes d5, with the idea that if black takes, white can take with check, and white's going to collect the rook in the corner. And that's why I played knight e8, because I'm also hitting the pawn. And after f4, now I have f6, because my queen is also protecting this pawn. So now knight takes d5 is out of the question. Oh. With people playing bishop h6, bishop g5. I don't know what you're talking about. Do you mean the game against Rose? But that was bishop f4, bishop g5. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, that game, I mean, it was a fighting game. It was just, I just made some inaccuracies. So that was just unfortunate. I had chances to fight for the win, but I just misplayed it, so. Rose Adwell, she's a talented junior player. No, I did not. I saw the move against Carissa, but I missed the line. And it's kind of interesting. I had dinner that evening with Alexander Lenchenko. I showed him that position, and it took him a long time to find it. Like, to me, it was not at all obvious, but yeah, that game I could have lost at like multiple moments, especially in the endgame. Well, knight takes d5. Okay, I take queen takes d5, knight b6. The move, you see knight takes d5. But to see that you have to take on e8 and then queen e4, it's so odd that after queen e4, black is just completely lost. Oh, right. Yeah, rook e5. Rook e5 was winning, but also what was craziest to me, Shelov, was that she did not play a5. Because a5 was just GG. I was like, shoot. What do I do after a5? Like, I just did not see a move. And then she played b6, and that was a relief. Alright. Anyway, we go f6 to open up our bishop. White obviously should take, but white went here, and now I just go ahead and take the pawn. And here, black is doing great. I guess we can, Jad, we can show that later. But yeah, here black is doing great with an extra pawn. And some people, like Mbopi in the chat, is more of an e5 player, and it might come a little bit counterintuitive that pawn often stays on e7, sometimes for the entire game. Right? But that's just what happens if you play a different opening. You might feel very tempted to push the pawn up, but not necessary. This bishop is doing a great job here in the middle of the board. If they would have taken on f6, I was considering to take with the bishop, and the computer confirms that. Because I was thinking like my knight can jump out like this or like this, but bishop takes is apparently the best. And I guess, like I said, because if I take with the knight, for the moment I'm blocking my bishop, and the knight doesn't have any good squares it can go to, but from here it can. Or here and here. Alright, here we just take the pawn, and black is doing great. We bring out the knight, and queen c7 is surprisingly awkward to meet. White is going to have to make a slight concession with either h3 or g3. This move was chosen, bishop here, and this move rook b8 was one I was looking at for a while, because as you will often see in the Accelerated Dragon, the pressure of the rook combined with the bishop can be really unpleasant for white to deal with. People, often when this pawn is hanging, they're tempted to push that pawn up, but that's simply going to hang the knight, and that was simply the end of the game. We're up a piece, and the rest wasn't too difficult. Thanks to Workjob for the raid. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hope you had a great stream. Welcome everyone from Workjob's channel. Okay, nice. New chess streamer. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great stream. All right, all of you came in at a great time. We're doing a speed run. But yeah, here we were up a piece, so the rest was pretty simple. Queen f4, he took here, but now check, and we collect the rook. All right, so yeah, okay, some more moves, but it ended in checkmate. Okay, so good stuff. We get another win. Let's move on to the next game. All right, we're playing with white, and with white, we have been playing d4. Hello, Rami B. Great to see you, knight f6. And we're going to do a Queen's Gambit speedrun, so we're going to follow up with c4. Let's see what he's going to do. And he goes d6. Okay, so with d6, he probably wants to go e5. Okay, great here, Workshop. He wants to go e5. Now, what I recommend here is that we stop e5 with the move knight f3. So let's go ahead and do that here. g6. Okay, so he's turning this into the King's Indian. There's a couple of things we can do. We can go for the fianchetto. I often play the fianchetto myself. I really like playing it. But perhaps for the purposes of this speedrun, let's go knight c3, because I want to try to stick to a setup with d4, c4, and knight c3 as much as possible. So let's also go knight c3 here. And let's try to build a big center with the move e4. Pretty typical King's Indian stuff here. He castles. Let's go bishop e2. This is the classical setup. Knight c6, okay. The main move is e5. Knight c6 does allow d5, but I'm just going to continue my development with castles. Okay, e5 played, putting pressure in the center. Let's go d5. Hit the knight. The knight has to move, and he goes knight e7. All right, so here there are some options. I can move my knight. Black is going to do the same, and then try to break with f5. But I also really like this move b4, the bayonet attack. a6 is really a useless move, because what black should do, here's the thing. I have more space on the queen side because of my most forward pawn, this pawn on d5. And that's where I'm going to attack. That's where I'm going to play. Black should not push any pawns on that side of the board, because that's only going to help me later on with my play on the queen side. Black should instead move this knight and get the f5 break in. That is really instrumental for their counterplay on that side of the board. Okay, nice, J-Will. So I'm going to go a4. I'm going to continue pushing on the queen side. This move might not seem the most useful, but we'll see the point very soon. He goes knight e8. And now I like this move, bishop a3. Okay. Well, we'll check later. Okay, he goes f5, putting some pressure. For the moment, this is protected. I don't have to respond if I don't want to. I think I can just go c5. If he takes, I think I can get away with here. Maybe here. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Let's go c5. I want to put some pressure on that d6 point. Okay, he can take, I can recapture, but I can also move my knight and recapture that way. Yeah, b4 is one of the top theoretical lines. So you will not see that a whole lot at a 1500 level. Okay, he goes f4 in pretty typical King's Indian fashion, but it's going to be hard for him to push all of these pawns, because I have not played f2, f3 yet. My bishop and queen will control these squares. I do want my knight over here, so I do increase the pressure on the sorry, on the pawn on d6. So I'm going to go here and here. Let's go knight e2. This is a pretty typical plan in the King's Indian. Let's see what he's going to do. Rook f6, bishop f8. Yeah, that is definitely a plan. Rook f6 and bishop f8. Yeah, that's definitely a nice plan to add some support over here. But if he plays those moves, still the question is how is he gonna attack? He goes g5. Now for the moment, g4 is not an issue because I covered that square. So I'm gonna go knight c4. Once again, since I have not played f3, it's hard for him to go g4. It's hard for him to go h5. All of that is covered. So he's probably tempted to bring the knight out. He goes knight g6. But now I can really try to do some damage. Maybe b5 is a nice move. And then perhaps b6 as well. Let's go b5. Once again, my plan is to push on the queen side and do some damage on that side of the board. Okay, he can take. I can recapture with my knight. Increase the pressure over here. He goes a5. But here I think we have a really nice move to smash black's pawn structure on the queen side. Does anyone have any ideas? How can we destroy black's pawn structure? Because black has this pawn chain, right? But we can destroy it here. Does anyone see how? What move do we have here? And this move is going to tear apart their structure. It's a very nice move. How? And I'll give you guys a hint. Often, you want to attack a pawn chain at its base. So, indeed, very good, everyone. We go pawn to b6. If the c7 pawn drops, this is going to drop. Excellent. So now, we're putting some great pressure on that d6 point. And keep in mind, like, black has barely started an attack on the king side, whereas we are already crushing them on the queen side. So, I think this is a great line to play against the king's Indian. Okay, he takes over here. I can recapture. I can also take here. If he recaptures, then maybe d6 or knight b5. All of that looks pretty nasty. If I take here, rook f7, I guess. And then if I take, he takes. And my bishop is hanging. So I'm going to take here first. Let's see what he's going to do. Now, a lot of moves are coming with tempo. He recaptures. d6 is an option. But I think I like knight b5 better. Let's go knight b5. Another nice move, jumping the knight forward. Hitting a bunch of stuff. Hello, Brandon the Bully. Yes, I am busy. I would have played, but I'm actually busy. So I'm sorry. All right, queen e7. Good move defending this. Okay, I can go knight b6. I can go d6. Lots of good options here. I like knight b6 best, I think. If he goes here, then d6. Everything is just coming in with tempo. Hello, Eastside. Fantastic to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well, my friend. But he can go here. No, but then I take. What am I saying? Okay, let's go knight b6. We're hitting this. We're hitting this. Supporting d6 to d7 as well. And we're just really dismantling the king's Indian here. We're dismantling the king's Indian. Okay, let's see what he's going to do. Okay, he goes rook there. I'm not too interested in taking. Let's go d6. Hitting the queen. Hitting this. And I feel like it's falling apart. If he goes here, here, he can take. Can maybe throw in this check. Take here. Lots of good options. I can also take here first. Bishop d7. It feels like we're very close to a knockout punch. Okay, he takes, but we can simply take that. I can take with the queen. I can take with the knight. I can also take here with the bishop. Everything looks absolutely crushing. But I'm going to take with the bishop, creating this pin over here. And we can simply take this knight on the next turn. And again, everything is collapsing. Hello, Evolve Yourself. Good to see you. Okay, nice, nice. Great to hear that. Yeah, hope you guys are enjoying the speedrun. Hope you guys are enjoying the course as well. The speedrun really is served to supplement the course, but also as a free way to learn if you don't want to buy the course. All right, so rook d8, but now we simply take the knight. Hello, Mitarchas, welcome. Okay, so queen e8. Okay, I can take, I mean, I'm still winning because I have so much material. But I don't have to. Bishop c4 looks pretty good as well. Or queen b3. Lots of good options here, eh? I think I'm gonna go for this. And if here, then here. Let's throw in this check, because I want to get myself out of the pin so I can just take the rook for free. The course, unfortunately, is not on sale. It was on sale for Black Friday and then Cyber Monday, but it just got off sale. However, if you have a Chess.com Diamond membership, you can get it for 30% off. He goes here. Let's go bishop c4, hitting the bishop. Okay, he takes. Let's recapture with a check. It's like art. Thank you very much. Yep. Okay, let's go ahead and take here. Now, he might have thought, like, okay, I'm down a rook, but at least the pounding is over. But guess what? The pounding is just beginning. Let's go here. Hit the queen, and we're aiming to go after his king as well. Oh, dang, sorry to hear that, east side. Dang. I hope you're holding up okay. Okay. Thank you, Jadu, for the 16 months. Okay, let's go ahead and give a check. What are you? Okay. The good news for him, though, is that he did not have to take that. He might have been worried about the checkmate, but his queen is covering that square. And actually, I did not have a good discovery, but I don't say no to a free queen. Okay, rook f8. Let's go ahead and take this pawn as well. Thank you so much, Jadub, for the 16 months. All right, here. Yeah, we have the best emotes here in the business, so that is a good reason to subscribe. Let's go g3. Not allow him any counterplay, even though he's down a queen. Okay, nice, Mitar. Right here that we're friends on chess.com. Okay, so let's have a look at this game. I think we really dismantled the King's Indian, but let's have a look. All right, so we start with d4, c4. With the move d6, our opponent is aiming to play e7, e5. So we can go knight f3, but then they go here. So we can also stop e5 by playing knight f3. Now he played g6, aiming to go for the King's Indian. Knight c3 here. And since we've now played this move, we can build the big center with e4. Castles, bishop e2. And okay, the main move here is e5, but knight c6 a move as well. Castles, and then e5. Now, the reason why I don't recommend the King's Indian for beginners or intermediate players, although maybe for intermediate, is that it's a very difficult opening. The thing is, if you look at the pure King's Indian, let's say this, white has a lot of setups, and they're all quite critical. White can go knight f3, bishop e2. There's bishop e2, bishop e3. There's like h3, bishop e3. There's f3, followed by bishop e3. There's like bishop d3, knight g2. I don't know, bishop e2, bishop g5. Lots of different systems. Often black is going to have to respond in different ways. And all of them put a lot of pressure on black. Like, the computer at face value is also giving white a plus 0.6 advantage. So, King's Indian, very difficult opening. No, the King's Indian attack is something white is an opening that white can play. It's more like if white, let's say, goes knight f3. Let's say white does this. So it goes for knight f3, g3. And then puts the bishop here. And then later goes for a setup with, let's say, d3, knight bd2, and e4. So it's kind of playing the reversed King's Indian. That's why it's called the King's Indian attack, not the King's Indian defense. But great question. Great question. There's nothing... Well, evolve yourself, there's nothing bad about him getting e5 in. But for example, this endgame is not necessarily better for white. Because c4 is not the most useful move. The king on d8 is actually not that unsafe at all. Because black can often go c6, king c7. And as you can see, the engine already very slightly prefers black. So that's why it makes a lot of sense to just stop him from getting e5 in. Hello, Shadow Sprite. Great to see you. Shadow Sprite is saying Fianchetto system is annoying as black. Not gonna lie. Hey, Shadow Sprite, you know I play the Fianchetto system. You know I try to be annoying. I actually won a game with the Fianchetto. Yeah. I won a hello Shadow Sprite. Great to see you. It was great to see you in Charlotte. And I won a game with the Fianchetto in Charlotte as well. Yeah, of course, evolve yourself. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Shadow Sprite. Yeah, no, I noticed Shadow Sprite at a restaurant nearby, and I always enjoy meeting people who watch my streams, and always, you know, enjoy talking with them. Yeah, we were at the same place. Yeah. All right. Okay. So here we bring out the knight, e4, bishop e2, and then against the king is Indian. Also, this line with b4 is pretty critical. The point is that we're just gaining space, and we'll see how we can put pressure on black later on. The main moves here are knight h5, followed by f5. Then I can also jump to f4 or a5, breaking up our structure. But a6 honestly is a useless move. It doesn't do anything. Yes, Victor, the better you get at chess, the better you also get a blindfold chess. You don't necessarily need to practice it. However, for let's say blindfold simuls, you definitely have to practice. At least that is my experience. Now here is the thing. We have more space on the king side. So that is where we're going to push forward. And that's why I played a4. Another reason is because I want to put this bishop here, so we can put a lot of pressure on that d6 point. Actually, the entire game, we were following this strategy. Let's have a look. Thank you, Zifo. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to the channel. So we go bishop a3, and then we go c5. And we can already see, for the moment, the bishop is covered behind these pawns. But we'll see the follow-ups. He goes here. And with f4, he's actually relinquishing his pressure on the center, and that really gives us a free hand to attack on the queen side. I play knight e2 and knight c4. So we're increasing the pressure over here. He goes here, and now b5. Our bishop is opening up, creating a lot of pressure on this pawn. a5. And here, a really nice move to remember. Like, if you play another move, like, let's say, rook c1, black can go b6, and white is much better, but it's not that easy to break through. However, here b6 is absolutely crushing because we completely demolish their pawn chain, and all our pieces are just gonna, you know, gonna swarm the black queen side. He took, and now a lot of moves came with tempo. We take here. He recaptured knight b5, hitting the queen. Here, knight b6, jumping in with tempo once again. d6. We just keep pushing forward. And we did not even have to take this knight right away. I took the bishop because the knight is pinned. He's simply going to lose for free. You went here. I took. Give a check. It's kind of funny. The computer is actually saying that this is the best move, sacrificing the queen, because white's initiative is just so crushing. But not necessary. We're already up a piece. So I gave a check and went here. As now we simply went a full rook. And like I said, after 96, it is all just continuing. He had to go king g8 because there's no good discovery for my knight, but obviously we're completely winning as we're up a full rook. And now we're up a queen. So pretty nice game against the King Indian. I'd say if you're looking for a good line against it, I'd say this should definitely serve as a starting point as to what you can do against the King Indian. All right, Pierce defense. Yeah, the Pierce is actually quite similar to the King Indian. The only difference is that black does not, or sorry, that white does not have the pawn on c4. Pierce is a very interesting opening. However, can also be difficult to learn because white can go for so many setups. Can I say Pierce defense if you get black? I want to get better. Sir Grandmaster. Wait, what? Can you? Well, with black, we have been playing the Accelerated Dragon. And I like the Accelerated Dragon better because we also go for the Fianchetto that you do in the Pierce. But you're not giving white the full center because we put that pawn on c5. So you still get the bishop on the long diagonal action, but you're not giving white the full center. So I think you might like the Accelerated Dragon better. But, we'll see. Yes, I think you absolutely should. Because it is an opening I've been teaching to all of my students. They've really liked it. And now I'm also covering it to people in my YouTube videos and in course format. So yeah, you guys can all learn it as well. Oh yeah, I saw Shadow Sprite. Yeah. Okay. Yes. By the way, I have a sponsorship with Cook Unity, and if you follow the link, you can get a nice discount. The Accelerated Dragon is extremely solid and easy to play. All right, so let's move on to the next game. Okay, we are playing with black. Come on. We could bait him. We can bait him into the yellow pin. I mean, this is really annoying. C3, I don't know what that move is. I'm just going to play D5. I'm just going to put a pawn in the middle. He goes D4. All right, and let's just continue our development. So in D4, D5, your next move is very often just going to be knight F6. So let's do that here. Let's see what he's going to do. He goes bishop G5. Okay. Hitting my knight, but I'm not too worried about him taking. I can go knight E4 if I want to. But I think I'll just continue my development with bishop F5. This is very often a good square for the bishop. He goes E3. All right, so let's go. Fine. Let's go knight E4. I mean, we do jump in the middle with the tempo. He can later kick me with F3, but F3 often is a bit weakening. So I don't mind that too much. So let's go knight E4. Do I ever play the Hyper Accelerated Dragon? Sometimes. Okay, he goes bishop F4. Now let's go C5. Very often, if your opponent brings out the bishop early, it makes a lot of sense to go C5, knight C6, and maybe queen B6 to put pressure on that B2 point. Okay, nice. I'll see Shadow Sprite, but best of luck studying. Like I said, it was nice meeting you at the tournament. And yeah, best of luck with everything, with chess, with studying. And I'll see you around. G5 was a move, but bishop E5 is a bit annoying. Would have provoked F6. So he gives a check, but I can just block with knight C6. Yes, he can take, but that is not at all concern, because we can undouble very quickly. Queen A4, he's increasing the pressure. So we have to defend. But queen B6 to me looks completely fine. So let's go ahead and do that. As we're now also indirectly eyeing the B2 point. Yes, no, I was very happy to win the last two. Especially because on round number 8 I played E4. It's really nice to sometimes just, you know, just go for it, you know, and win. And winning the last round, I was very pleased with, because that made me share third, made me gain some rating, and allow me to finish in the prizes. So I was very happy, because in the end, because I won the last round, it was a net positive on all fronts. Like, I shared third, won some rating, won some money, so it was all good. But if I lose the last round, then it's like, what the frick, you know? Hello, Thaddeus, welcome. That's a tough thing with tournaments, you know? But I appreciate the support, Shadow Sprite. Okay, all right, great. Yeah, Elapin, Great Thorn Toad. I'd say the Elapin can definitely be a shortcut in the Sicilian, because there's not a whole lot you have to know. I mean, you have to know D5, you have to know knight F6, but that's really it. Okay, he takes. I can recapture with the queen, but I'll just recapture with the pawn. So I keep my queen on an active square. For the moment, taking is out of the question, though, because he takes here. Okay, queen B3. But I think now we can provoke a really nice transition in the pawn structure. I do not want to take, as he's going to recapture, get that half open file for his rook. But I really like the move C4. I provoke him to take, because now I recapture and I get the half open file for my rook. Okay, he goes 92. I can take, but not necessary. Now, here we have a very nice plan. So this is quite typical for the structure where you've played A takes B6 and you get that half open A file. I'm going to go B5, and my idea is to go E6, and then B4, and then we're really putting a lot of pressure on the queen side. Okay, let's see what he's gonna do. Anyway, hope all of you guys are doing well. If anything is unclear, or if you have questions about anything, you know, don't be shy to ask them in the chat, as I'll be more than happy to explain everything. Okay, he goes knight f3. Go b4, but he takes, so I'm first gonna go... Although we can go b4. If he takes, then e6. He's having a really hard time protecting that. So I think I'm gonna do that. If he takes here... Yeah, let's do that. Let's go b4. We're sacrificing a pawn. But if he takes after e6, he cannot defend it. With the bishop coming in, I'm putting a lot of pressure with these two bishops. Okay, nice, nice. Thank you, Sopak. Thank you, appreciate that. Well, the hair is of course always looking good. I mean, you're talking to the most handsome GM in the world. 6-3. All right, he takes. I don't want to do this because then c4 gets very weak, so we're just going to recapture with the bishop. Let's see. Once again, if he takes, we're losing that pawn temporarily because after e6, bishop takes b4, we're getting it back. Thank you, Thaddeus. Okay, he takes. Let's go e6, as now we guarantee that we will get the pawn back. Okay, let's see what he's going to do. Kek W. Huh. Most humble gem, exactly. Yep. All right, let's go ahead and take here. Okay, 95. He's hitting the pawn. I obviously do not want to lose it, so I'll go rook a6 to protect. And on the next turn, we can kick this knight away with f6. Okay, let's see what he's going to do, but we're doing great here. You might think like, okay, we have these doubled pawns, but that also gives us the A file and the B file to attack with. A3, hitting my bishop, but I could just drop it back. I don't really want to dive in as the bishop can get kind of trapped there, so I'll just drop the bishop back to e7. And next up, I want to go f6 to kick that knight away, as it's a little bit annoying. All right, let's see what he's going to do. But yeah, especially that b2 pawn is now backwards. If we attack it later on, he's going to have a really hard time to defend it, actually. Rook c1. Okay, let's go f6. Kick the knight away. And now I'd even go as far as to say that black is winning here. Pawn on b2 is so weak that it's simply going to drop. Like rook b6 is already a move. I think he still has rook a2. I think I'll just go here. If he goes knight here, I'll just go here. So let's go king d7. Also, by the way, we have c5. We can undouble our pawns. Hello, JVO. Good to see you in the chat. Hope you're doing well. Hello, it's Peppy. Great to see you as well. Okay, he goes 92, hitting our bishop. We can move the bishop forward, but bishops actually operate really well from a distance. So I'm just going to drop it back from g6. Drop it back to g6. We'll trade. No, because this bishop is fantastic. Look at all these squares it's covering. Here's the thing. If I go rook b6, he cannot go rook c2 or rook b1 because of that bishop. Bishops are almost always better than knights. People who tell you that bishops and knights are equal are lying to you. They've been lying to you their entire life. Bishops are better than knights. Thank you, Guild Wars, for the 33 months. Wow, thank you so much. Hello, Thunder. Good to see you. Thunder asks, hey, Bok, what should you do if your opponent tries to play for a draw? Like, trade everything and flatten the board. Good question. Sometimes there's not much. It's really hard to deal with that. And there might be cases where there's not that much you can do about it. That being said, usually it should not be that easy for them to just trade everything up. There should always be ways. There should always still be play. Especially if they force the trades a little bit too much. Alright, anyway. I want to put a lot of pressure here. I'm considering to do like here and here and here. Because I would love to do this, but I cannot. Can also go here so that if he goes e4, my bishop is still active. let's go rook b6. I'm hitting the pawn, and I'm forcing white to make an awkward move like rook a2. But great question in the chat. Hello, Bells up. I'm currently in Central. Thank you, Frostmorn Dota. My speedrun is quite different from Daya's, in the sense that Daya would, I think every video was one game, right? Whereas in my speedrun, one video is like we run from like 1500 to 1600, so it's a little bit different in that regard. And we're playing the same opening in every game. But I guess what he did is also really interesting. Just do one game at a time and really dig deep, like really dissect every single detail in the position. Okay, he goes rook a2, but again, this pawn is pretty weak. I think he wants to go e4, shut my bishop out. I could go bishop d3 to make sure that my bishop remains active, but I also like the idea of here. He goes here, and then rook a7 with the idea to go here. And it's honestly really awkward for him to deal with. I think that pawn on b2 is simply going to drop. So let's go rook a8. My idea is to go here and here. And the pawn is simply going to drop. He goes e4, but we can simply ignore all of this. I have a very solid pawn chain. So let's stick to the plan. Rook a7 and rook here. And again, I don't see how he's going to protect that pawn. Because if he goes rook b1, we go here. And he's going to be pinned. And everything, I kid you not, everything is going to fall apart. If you look at this position, you might think like, okay, material is even, but I kid you not. Probably in like 5 moves, I would not be surprised if white is down like 2 pawns or something. Okay, he takes. Let's recapture with the c pawn. We also undouble our pawns in the meantime. And as you guys can see, we keep a very healthy pawn structure. I have 0 weaknesses, but this pawn, it's simply going to drop. I promise you guys. It's terribly weak. Okay, and by the way, also notice that I put my king in the middle. Because I think a lot of people, they would have played castles here. But big endgame lesson, in the endgame, you actually want to have your king in the middle. It's just another piece. So you want to use it as well. All right, h3 played. Let's stick to the plan. We go here and hit the pawn on b2. But yeah, good question, Thunder. What is your elo? Okay, he goes a4, but this pawn is not really going anywhere, so let's go ahead and take him. But also notice that now we get our own passed pawn. What's the best thing to order from Cook Unity? Good question, Great Thorn Toad. It depends, but they have a lot of options, and they should have something for everyone, you know? Okay, takes. Let's go ahead and recapture. Okay, it goes rook a1. Makes sense to support that pawn. But I think we'll just push this pawn all the way down. Should be b4 an option, but let's just push the pawn. c3. c2 is coming. Rook here. Potentially bishop a3 if needed. And that's going to cost them a lot of material. Okay, goes knight f3. Let's continue pushing the pawn. As I don't see how he's going to stop this. Okay, goes a5, but now we just give this check. If he takes, we're getting a full queen. If he doesn't take, I'm going to take a full rook. Thank you, Frostmorn. Happy to hear it's useful. All right, and we win another game. Nice, and we move up to 1580. Okay, let's have a look at this game. Lot to unpack. So if your opponent plays a random move like c3 or e3, I recommend you just put a pawn in the middle. And we did that with the move d5. I played d5 specifically. and not e5 or c5, because after e5, he was probably going to go d4. It's attacking my pawn, if you will. So that's why I play d5. He goes here. And I'd say, generally speaking, in these d4, d5 positions, very often your next move is just going to be knight of 6. Just develop the knight, and you keep your options open. You can still turn this into a London, or you can try to turn a reverse London, if you will, or reversed Queen's Gambit with the move c5. Okay, he goes here. Now, generally against early bishop g5 setups, I recommend that you go for a quick c5 followed by queen b6, because this pawn is left behind. It is unprotected because he developed that bishop. So very often queen b6 is the way to put pressure on it. All right. Okay, so here he goes here, knight e4, bishop f4. Okay, actually the best would have been g5. Somebody asked about that in the chat. g5 is the best move. I thought, okay, you can go here, but f6, right? And here, and the point is that you go h5, threatening to trap the bishop. He's probably gonna have to do this, and then you take, and then g3 is a little bit weak, but nothing too bad. Anyway, so c5 was played. He gave a check. I just blocked. Goes here, and now queen b6. We still want to eye that pawn. He took. Okay, we recapture. Now we're doing pretty well. We have the bishop pair with a lot of space. He should have just continued his development or f3, but he goes here. And now this is pretty instructive. Very often, when these queens are having a stare off, like I don't want to take, because then he recaptures, gets that rook active. I want him to take and get my rook active. And actually this whole clump of pawns, as we saw in the game, turn out to be really useful. We'll see why. So very often you want to go b5, and then you want to go b4 coupled with e6. So I played b4 here, because after takes, the point is that if he takes, I can go e6, and I'm going to get the pawn back anyway. That's what happened here. So I took, he went here, I go rook a6 to defend it, and here a crucial move in the game. He absolutely, and that's also what I thought, he had to play f3. Because if he does not, and he plays another move like, I don't know, or let's have a look at what happened in the game. He went here and here. Now I go f6 and kick his knight away. And this bishop on the diagonal is an absolute beast. That's also why I was never interested in trading over here. This bishop is super strong, because if I ever attack the pawn on b2, he can barely defend it, because he can never put a rook on c2 or on b1. But that's why he absolutely had to play f3, because my bishop is actually running out of squares. If I go here, he goes g4. If I go here, he can trade. If I go to d3, he can trade. If I go to c2, he can also attack it. So f3 was absolutely necessary. Here it's already a little bit too late, because if he does this, then I can go here. It's not ideal, but at least I keep my bishop on the board. Hello, Ajedres. Right. Maybe later. We're just doing a speed run. We're now at 1580. We're going to push for 1600, and eventually we'll also get into the 2000s. Okay, so it goes here. Now I kick the knight. I move my king up. And this pawn on b2 is super weak, so we're simply going to attack it. All right. So I keep my bishop on the board. I attack it, and now a nice plan. Rook here. Rook here. He undoubled my pawns. And rook here. That was the whole plan, as now b2. He simply cannot defend. So b2 dropped. I get a passed pawn, and now we're simply going to push that. So I push, and that is it with rook b1 coming next. Okay, so very nice game. We really dismantle these early dark squared bishop developments like the London or the Trompovsky. Like I said, you very often want to go for c5, knight c6, and queen b6 in these type of positions to put pressure on b2. Okay, so nice win. Let's move on to the next game. Okay, we're playing with black against Gasparov. Okay, goes g3. Now I can go d5, but we can also kind of, let's try to play this as an accelerated dragon. With the emphasis on try. We'll see how this goes. Let's go c5. Let's go knight c6. I can still go g6 and bishop g7 afterwards. He goes b3. However, since he's really messing around, I'm just going to build the big center. Let's go d5. Goes there. Let's go e5. Let's build the big center. Goes e3. I feel like he's still messing around, so I'm going to continue building a big center. I knew somebody could not resist the urge to say it in the chat. Oh, wait, almost mouse slip there. Okay, let's continue. I wonder what the best setup is. I think maybe just here and here, but it will be interesting to check. So let's try to punish the hippo in this game. Now with this move, he's breaking the hippo setup. The hippo would have been completed with the move knight e2. He's hitting this pawn. Now, very often what you have to keep in mind is that you have to be patient. If you push these pawns too early, that could backfire. But I'm just going to go bishop d6. Just defend everything. Okay, he goes knight g5, hitting this. Let's see, I can drop back to d7. I don't really want to drop back this way. So I'm going to drop back here. d5 is defended. And I can always kick his horse away on the next turn. Okay, let's see what he's going to do. He goes e4, okay. Alright, so he's putting pressure on my center. I don't want to go d4 because then he can take and he gets a nice e4 square. I don't want to allow him to take. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take here first and then go d4. So let's go ahead and take. Not quite. Great question, Rami B. I don't know where we should put this, honestly. But let's go d4. Maybe you can still put it in the Accelerated Dragon. Fine, fine. Just put it in the Accelerated Dragon. Because I played c5 and knight c6. Okay, he goes there. Hitting my bishop. I guess I'll just go bishop c7. I can go bishop e7 as well, but I think it makes more sense to go here. Also, so I'm a little bit better prepared for an f4 break. So let's go bishop c7. Okay, let's see what he's going to do. We have a lot of space here. This bishop is currently blocked in. This bishop as well. And we still have a nice center with the black pieces. Yeah, no, great turn toe. They have some great meals. The real Tay, this is the hippo. Alright, he goes there, but it's not really doing anything. I'm just gonna castle. Just have to make sure he does not get this, but for the moment that's not an option. His knight is in the way. But yeah, guys, I have a sponsorship with Cook Unity. They have some really nice meals. I ordered some myself. Would really appreciate it if people check it out, because it also does support the channel quite a lot. Okay, he castles, but now we have knight b4. We also have b5. He's really walking right into the line of fire. So let's go ahead and attack. Let's go b5. Hit the knight. Also have knight b4 coming. The next couple of moves are really going to hurt white. Like, the king is not safe here. He definitely should have castled this way. I see we already have someone sign up for Cook Unity, so really appreciate that. Let me know if that was you. Alright, can throw a knight b4. I guess he wants me to take, because then he gets this. But even that, it's just winning for black, because I can take. However, okay, I guess if he takes, that's not that clear. Let's see, what are we gonna do? Maybe just h6. Let's go h6, we attack another piece. Didn't quite want to take, because it allows e5. Yeah, the four pawns attack, yeah. Okay, takes, hitting my knight. If I take, he takes. So I'm gonna take this way. Because now if he takes, I take, and I keep all the threats. Hitting the queen, I'm hitting this, so he's gonna lose something. Okay, he goes there. Alright, goes there. Okay, well, free knight. Let's go ahead and take it. Okay, hitting the knight. Knight g4 is a really nice move. As we're defending the knight, offering the queen trade, and we're threatening to jump in. Okay, let's see what he's gonna do. Okay, nice Great Thorn Toad. Okay, he goes there, but now rook f2. Spinning up a lot of material. Okay, nice. Appreciate that. Let me check. But yeah, if you follow my Twitch link, then it should count, and that will support the channel. You will, by the way, have a discount for 4 weeks. And if you stay signed up for those 4 weeks, that is going to support the channel. All right, rook d2. Knight f3. Or, you know what, let's put him in a pin. Queen g5 looks pretty unpleasant. Okay, h4. I want to keep the pin. So let's go ahead and go here. Okay, king d1. Okay, this is a move. This is a move. All right, let's jump in. These knights are going to do a lot of damage. All right, and let's go knight f3. Look at these knights. This hurts. This hurts. Okay, takes. I can take the queen, but I can also take here with check. Okay, he goes there. Let's go ahead and take the queen. We're up a queen now, and the game is just over. a4. Okay, nice stuff. Okay, win another nice game. And here we see how we should punish our opponent if they do not put any pawns in the middle. So I like what we did. We put 1, 2, 3, 4 pawns in the middle. We really build a big center here with black. All right, so I developed the knight, bishop, and the other bishop. And I feel like if he's not able to attack my center somehow, then black is just doing great here. Okay, he went here, e4. But like I said, he wants to open up this bishop. If I go d4, he takes, and he gets the e4 square for his knight. So what I do is I take first, and then I go d4. And now both bishops are blocked in. All right, so he goes here, but it just dropped the bishop back. Can always kick this knight away later with b5. So, but this is just not a move. This king is very unsafe here. b5. And, okay, we took. Now we simply win a piece, because we hit the queen. This hanging as well. All right, so we take knight here. defending this, offering the queen trade. Rook f2 with the 4 key, hitting this and this. Here we take queen g5, winning by pinning. And everything just collapsed. Check. Another fork. Everything is just collapsing. Take with the discovery check. And we won the queen. And with that, the game. Okay. So very nice stuff. But I hope this gives you guys a good idea what you should do if your opponent goes for the hippo and he doesn't put any pawns in the middle himself. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to the next game. All right, so we're playing with black. Okay, so it goes d4. Now against d4, I have been teaching you guys the move d5. And I like d5 because it's really the simplest response. Now he goes for the London. Now, what did we learn earlier? What do we do against the London? What do we do if they bring out that bishop early to f4? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I hate the London. Like, it's so boring. But what I recommend is that whenever you see the move bishop f4, that you play c5. You play c5. All right. So, e3. And now we go knight c6. Knight f3. Okay, and now we develop the other knight. So these are almost always going to be your first 4 moves against the London. He goes h3. Okay. But let's go queen b6. This pawn on b2 is a little awkward to protect. Okay, queen c1, but he's not paying attention. All right. What do we do here? Let's see who's paying attention in the chat. Why is queen to c1 not a good move? Why? Why is this not good? Yep, indeed. We take. All right, he takes. e5, by the way, is a move, but he can take, and if I take, he just drops back. So unfortunately, we don't win a pawn there. Take, he can recapture. It's tempting, though, but yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, this doesn't necessarily lead to a big advantage. So I think I'm just going to take the pawn. Let's go ahead and take the pawn. It's a bit of a pity, but, you know, we win a pawn. We're still better. Okay, takes. Let's take. Okay, c3. Hitting the queen. I can give a check, but I think I'll just drop back to b6. I want to keep the queen on the safe square. We're up a pawn. We just have to make sure that nothing bad happens here. Okay, bishop e3, hitting our queen, but we can just drop it back to the safe c7 square. Bishop d3. Okay, and you know what? Since you guys like this so much, let's build a big center with e5. He castles, let's go bishop d6. All right, he goes 92. Let's continue our development with castles. Hello, Medicine Man. Welcome. Yep. We all do. Victor is upset. He really likes that. But a big shout out to everyone in YouTube. Sorry, I haven't. Hope all of you guys are doing well. Hello, Nathaniel. Hello, Command Pro. Hello, Assassin. Hope all of you guys are doing well. And you, Karthik. Okay, let's see. Bishop e2. Okay, doesn't do much. Let's just continue our development. Bishop f5 with the bishop on an active square. Hello, Potapoli. Doing well. Thank you. Hope you're doing well too. I came back the other day from a tournament. I was talking about that earlier this stream. I was pretty pleased with the final result. Okay, let's go h6. Although, I'm kind of baiting him, if you will, to do this. No reason to do that, though. He might just do it. It's not good, but... It was the US Masters in Charlotte. It was great to see a lot of people from the Charlotte community again. Alright, he goes there. Let's activate a rook with rook to d8. And yeah, like I said, I was pretty pleased with the final result. Because last year I had a bad tournament there. So, because I lost in the very first round, and it's just unfortunate. Because then after that, you're just playing catch-up for the entire event. Okay, my bishop is under attack, but I think I'll just drop it back to e6. Okay, he goes knight f3. Now, sorry. I'm gonna, since this pawn is, since this pawn is sometimes hanging, I'm just gonna go a6. Just want to make sure I don't have to worry about it. Rook c1. Yeah, let's continue improving the position slowly but surely. We're doing great here, but to be fair, it's not that easy to convert this into a win like right away. Like, we're up a pawn, but it's like, okay, how do we actually win this, you know? Because, okay, I don't really want to go e4. Okay, obviously I don't want to go d4, so what are we playing for is the big question, perhaps, right? But I do like this idea. Let's go knight e4, putting my knight on an active square in the middle. And perhaps we can follow up with f5, getting a lot of space. Thank you for the poly. What was my score? It was 7 out of 9. In round number 4, by the way, I took a bye, which, you know, I slightly regret in a way at the end. Because with the bye, I just came like, I finished half a point out of first place. Right, so had I not taken the bye, I would have probably had better chances. However, I got really lucky in some games. I can really not complain about the result I had. Like, it could have been much worse. So it's all okay in the end. But I guess that's something for next time. I guess next time I will not take a bye. But it's all like, you know, it's like 9 rounds in 5 days. And when I got there, I was a little bit tired. So I was like, why not just chill out? All right, thank you so much, Great Thorn Toad. Thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate you signing up for Cook Unity, as that supports the channel a lot. It really does. And like I said, you get a discount for the first 4 weeks. And if you stay signed up those first 4 weeks, that is where, you know, your support really kicks in. He goes there, I can take. If I go f4, he takes. Still bishop d2. So I think I'm just going to drop the knight back and aim to push him away with f4. Like, these pawns are controlling a lot of squares. I don't really want to go e4 because then I give away this square. I kind of go d4, but I like the idea of pushing up another pawn and grabbing more squares, more space that way. Yeah. Can I explain taking a bye? Yeah, so for those who don't know what that means, it means that you take a half point and you don't play. Right? So the upside is that you don't have to play. And you can rest. The downside is that you get half a point. Whereas I was one of the pre-tournament favorites. And so I was in all of the games I played, I was actually the higher rated player. So if I play games, I'm the favorite to actually win those games. If that makes sense. But the thought behind it is to give myself a little bit of rest in between. But like I said, I don't know if I'll do that again. You will only get a full point if you're the very lowest on the list. If you're at the bottom of the list, then you get a full point. Okay, goes there. But let's go ahead and take here. He can take, but then I also take the knight. Right, so he takes here, I can take. I can also take the knight. And now we get a really interesting imbalance, if you will. But it's not much of an imbalance. We're just up a lot of material. Because what we will see is that we will get 3 minor pieces for the rook. Usually if you get 2 minor pieces, that's already an advantage compared to rook. But 3 is just completely winning. Exactly, yep. Okay, if we win this one, we're gonna jump to 1596. Okay, it takes. Let's go ahead and recapture. And now we're gonna use our material advantage to transform that into an attack. We can use these 3 minor pieces to start attacking that king over here, and he's probably not gonna be able to do much about it because he doesn't have the pieces to defend himself with. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Okay, goes rook e2. Let's go rook to f8. I want to put some pressure over here. Okay, 94 looks pretty good. Hitting the queen, putting pressure here. Bishop c5 coming as well. No. Like only before the tournament, I can say like, hey, I want to take a bye in round number 4, and then I get half a point for that game. He goes there. Let's go bishop c5, increase the pressure on f2. Okay, goes there, but we can just take, and we're collecting material. Okay, takes. So let's go ahead and recapture. Yeah. Yes, exactly, ajedrez. Yep. But you have to submit it beforehand. Like you can take a bye in round number 9, but you have to let them know beforehand, because otherwise, let's say you say like after round number 8 you're a point ahead, and then you're like, oh, I take a bye in round number 9, and so you just guarantee yourself tournament victory. You can't quite do that. But you can take a bye in round number 9 beforehand, and then, if it turns out you're a point ahead, then okay, congratulations. But it can also work against you, right? Maybe you're behind and you have to win. No. It's not. that is all before the pairings are out, Father Mardicus. You have to submit the buy before the tournament. Not even before a round, but before the tournament. Okay. And it's not even against the specific opponent. It's just a half point. It's a half point in the tournament. Okay, so we win. Good stuff. And like I said, whenever our opponent... So d4, I recommend we go d5. Well, but yeah. And whenever we see bishop f4, then we go c5. All right, so here we bring out the knight. Bring out the other knight. And generally, it's a very good idea to go for a quick queen b6. Hitting this, also putting pressure here. Goes here, but that simply drops a pawn. I was considering e5. But I thought he would take. Takes and here. And unfortunately, we don't win any material. We're definitely better here, but... Well, you don't necessarily get the money. What do you mean, Father Marcus? To actually get the money, you have to finish in the prizes. It depends. Sometimes one, sometimes two. I don't know what the max is. I saw somebody taking 4 buys in the last 4 rounds. Okay. Anyway, I just took the pawn. We're up a pawn here. I just drop back. I build the center. And the thing is, okay, it wasn't that obvious to me how we actually convert this, but I like the... So we just slowly but surely improve our pieces. We also put the other rook here, but I really like the idea of jumping forward with the knight. And then f5, f4. Because I don't really want to touch one of these pawns. I cannot go d4. I don't really want to go e4 as I give away this square. But if I push up that f-pawn as well, then we're really, making use of our extra space while still controlling all of these squares. All right, so here, but now his bishop simply got trapped, we're winning a piece, and that's pretty much it. He went here. But this is very good for us because like I said, 2 minor pieces are almost always better than a rook, and 3 minor pieces are simply dominating over a single rook. So what you have to do here is simply find a point to attack. I chose the f2 point, and what we see here is that white is simply unable to defend because I just have more pieces to attack with than they can defend themselves with. So I went here, and it's f2 is simply dropping. I took, we're up 2 pieces, and so we win. Okay, so good stuff. We're up to 1596. Let's do one more to cross 1600. All right, and we're getting white against Mr. Minister. Let's go d4. And he goes knight f6. Okay, let's go c4. And let's go knight c3. Okay, goes the King's Indian. Let's go e4. That's, of course, the whole point behind d4, c4, knight f3. Sorry, knight c3. Okay, he goes d6. Now let's go knight f3. Let's stick to the same system we played earlier. Let's go bishop e2 here, continue our development. What's the... he's playing the King's Indian against me. Okay, he goes c5. But I can just grab more space with d5. I can also allow him to take, but I'm just going to go d5. And now his pieces are a little bit cramped. Let's see what he's going to do. Okay, he goes e6, typical move. Let's go ahead and castle. Okay, he goes bishop d7, but that's really odd. Okay, I can go bishop f4. Lots of options here. Bishop f4 hits this. Can also take... Okay, that's also possible, Senosar. Let's go bishop e3. I just continue my development. I can go here, but it should go here. You see here, this is why the king is in such a difficult opening. I just have more space, and he's struggling to get his pieces out. He takes. I'll just recapture with the e-pawn. Let's see what he's going to do. The pawn on d6 can be quite weak, as I can also easily attack it. Okay, let's see what he's going to do. Okay, goes rook e8. This is sometimes an idea. Let's go bishop f4 to hit the pawn on d6. Okay, goes bishop f5. Let's go bishop d... Sorry, bishop d3. Trying to trade the bishops. Okay, goes knight e4. Can take that. It just takes. Can maybe take and knight b5. Might not be so terrible. Okay, no worries, ajedrez. Let's go ahead and take. He's going to recapture. Q1 is an option. He takes, maybe I take and take. And that is a little bit weak. Can also go here, bishop f8. Bishop f8 is of course awkward. Let's go rook e1. Hit the bishop. Okay, takes. Okay, we just have to recapture. Yes, I have the double pawns, but it's hard for him to develop his knight. He cannot quite go here. I do not like that move f5 at all. It weakens his position too much. It anchors in the bishop, but it also leaves behind some squares. As now I can go knight g5 and jump in here. And f3 to trap the bishop. Yeah, by the way, guys, it is Giving Tuesday. So please consider donating to the Daniel Naroditsky Memorial Fund. I would appreciate it if people do. I made a donation myself a while ago. It is to support a couple of initiatives. First of all, the Naroditsky Memorial Blitz and Rapid Championship and the Naroditsky Fellowship, which is a scholarship program supporting talented young chess players. This is, by the way, going to be the last game. After this, we are going to dip. Oh, thank you, Nathaniel. Really happy to hear that it's been useful. Thank you so much. My pleasure. Okay, queen f6. But this bishop over here can simply be trapped with the move f3. This bishop is simply gonna drop. Okay, goes h6, hitting the knight, but now I can just jump into the e6 square. And yeah, that bishop is simply gonna drop. Alright, takes. Let's just recapture. Take the rook. And this bishop is still under attack, so he's probably gonna move it, but then we can also take this pawn over here, and we're just absolutely crushing. We're up in exchange. His king is also, by the way, pretty weak. So bishop e5 is coming. We can push this pawn forward as well a little bit. And so we're going to get a nice win here. Okay, goes there. We'll just go. Let's just activate the other rook as well. Oh, the stream. Ah, really? Sorry about that. Okay, awesome. Awesome to hear that, Evolve Yourself. Yeah, I hope you guys have been having a great time. Like I said, this is going to be the last stream, last game of today's stream. We, by the way, still have to convert our advantage. But, you know what? If we're feeling greedy, let's go e7. Let's just offer the trade. Let's see what he's going to do. Hello, Johnny D. Okay, takes. Let's recapture with the rook. We're now hitting a lot of stuff. Goes knight b8. Okay, I can take. This is also an option. Let's just go ahead and pick up a couple of pawns. Let's take here. Okay, let's take here. Let's start pushing a little bit. Let's go h4. Our h pawn is a pass pawn now as well, so let's push that up the board. Okay, goes there. Let's go rook d6, I guess. And slow. Eventually, the problems are just going to be too much for him to handle. Okay, he's not really threatening to take as this pawn. Simply push the pawn. So let's go h5, h6. If you have passed pawns, often all you have to do is just push them. The one caveat, though, with that is that, yeah, you do want to make sure that you don't leave too many squares behind. But often it's as simple as that. If you have passed pawn, just push it up the board. Okay, takes. That's fine. We'll lose a pawn, but we get some trades in. Let's go h6. This pawn is now very close to promotion. Goes knight f6. Okay, if I take, he's just in time to stop it. But I go bishop g5. If he takes, I take, and then my pawn is going to promote. So let's go bishop g5. I give up the rook, but I get the knight, and now this pawn is simply going to be promoted, as he cannot stop it. Okay, so let's push. Queen, and the rest is going to be simple. Let's activate our king as well. Although we can also just use the queen to simply clean up everything. And let's go ahead and do that here. Let's go queen b8, hit this and this. Okay, let's take another pawn. All right, let's use our king as well to attack a few pawns. Okay, let's take another pawn. All right, okay, and we get another nice win. Okay, so this was another King's Indian, which, you know, King's Indian is a good opening, but you have to know how to play it. And c5 is honestly already risky. If you play the King's Indian, I recommend that you just play with e5, probably knight c6, but c5, I can, by the way, also let black take, and I think white's better in that structure, but I can also go d5 and grab more space. Now, this is fine. But bishop d7 is really odd. Black should just take as quickly as possible. And in this structure, I would say that black often has one piece too many. Black should often try to get rid of this bishop. Bishop g4 and just trade is an option. Or bishop f5 and knight e4. But bishop d7 is just really odd. So here, now black took. Still perhaps bishop g4 here was needed. Here, I hit the pawn. Okay, bishop d3, knight e4, and I took, and rook e1, hitting the bishop. And okay, if he moves it, then I can take, and I win the d6 pawn. So that's already a bit of an issue. So that's why he took. But now, first of all, the dark squares are kind of weak, and this knight is still having a hard time developing. Can I go here? I can go to a6, but it's also not on a great square there. He went here, but this weakens the position way too much. As I go here, his bishop can simply get trapped at f3, and knight e6 is an issue. He went here, I trapped the bishop, jumped in with the knight. He saved his bishop, but he's down in exchange, loses another pawn, and the rest was pretty simple. We activate the rook, force some trades, pick up a pawn, pick up another one, push the pawn, push the pawn, and eventually, if you push the pawns, they're often gonna promote. You went here, bishop g5, and that is pretty much it. So we get a new queen, and the rest was pretty simple. Okay, so good stuff. We crossed 1600. Hope you guys have been enjoying the speedrun. Thank you, Etranya. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. So we're gonna wrap up for today. Hope all of you guys enjoyed watching. Appreciate all the love and support from all of you guys. The speedrun videos are going to be uploaded on YouTube. I also have, we're also live streaming right now on YouTube. So you guys can also see the original content on YouTube right now, or in the live stream videos. But it will all be, separated into Accelerated Dragon videos and Queen's Gambit videos. So I'd appreciate it if you guys would subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's all going to be uploaded on there. I hope this has been instructive and useful for you guys. Couple of things before we get going. First things first, it is Giving Tuesday. So I would appreciate it if you guys would consider donating to the Dejan Naroditsky Memorial Fund. It's supporting great initiatives that I think Danya would absolutely love. Because Danya, he definitely would have loved, a Rapid and Blitz event. A lot of GMs have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Classical, but most of them, and especially Danya, he really liked Rapid and Blitz. So that would be great, and the Naroditsky Fellowship. So please consider donating. Also, if you enjoyed the stream, if you enjoyed the content, and you feel like you're learning a lot, would also appreciate it if you guys would check out my courses. There you can learn even more. I'm quite busy right now, but I am taking on a few more students. So in case anyone is interested, you can send an email over here. And we have I have a great sponsorship with Cook Unity. So make sure to check it out. You can get a nice discount. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up. Make sure to join our Discord. That's the best way to stay in touch while I'm offline. Appreciate all of you guys. And with all of that being said and done, I wish you guys a good night. So thanks everyone for watching. Yeah, the game against Carissa was tough, Planet L. I was completely lost in that one. I was very lucky to survive. All right. We're gonna wrap up. Thanks everyone for watching. And I'll send you guys over to Mr. Riz. Yeah, and I was super lucky. Okay, see you guys.